medieval world operated under a system of justice, vastly different from our own. Capital punishment was a common spectacle, a public affirmation of power designed to deter crime and maintain order. At the heart of this grim system stood the executioner, a figure both essential and utterly reviled. The executioner occupied a unique and deeply unpleasant position within medieval society. He was necessary for the enforcement of the law, yet he was often treated as an outcast, living on the margins both geographically and socially. Their residences were often located outside the town walls or in the least desirable district. This isolation stemmed from a combination of factors. The association with death and violence was a primary driver. In a society deeply concerned with purity and religious observance, handling corpses and inflicting pain was seen as defiling. Furthermore, the very act of taking a human life, regardless of legal sanction, carried a heavy social stigma. Fear also played a role. People distrusted those who wielded such power, regardless of its legal basis. They were seen as harbingers of bad luck, their touch considered unlucky. Social interactions were limited. Opportunities for marriage were scarce, often restricted to others within this marginalized community. They might be forbidden from entering certain public spaces or participating in communal activities. Despite their necessary role, executioners were perpetual outsiders. The executioner's duties extended beyond simply administering the final blow. They were skilled professionals responsible for preparing the condemned, maintaining their instruments, and often performing acts of torture leading up to the execution. A swift and clean execution was considered a mark of competence. A botched execution, prolonging the suffering of the condemned, could provoke public outrage and even jeopardize the executioner's position. Their knowledge of anatomy was paramount, ensuring the quick severance of the head or the precise placement of the noose. Beyond the physical skills, executioners also needed a certain level of psychological fortitude. They had to be able to withstand the pressure of public scrutiny, the cries of the condemned, and the sheer weight of taking a life. The reasons why individuals chose or were compelled to become executioners were varied and often complex. For some, it was a matter of economic necessity. Executioners were paid for their services, a consistent income in a precarious world. The role could also be hereditary, passed down from father to son. In some cases, it was a form of punishment. Criminals might be forced to become executioners as an alternative to execution themselves. What psychological impact did this role have? It is difficult to say with certainty given the limited historical records. Some likely became desensitized, viewing their work as a purely mechanical process. Others may have developed elaborate rationalizations, convincing themselves that they were simply instruments of justice, carrying out the will of the law. Still, the weight of responsibility, the social isolation, and the constant exposure to death must have taken a toll. The medieval executioner remains a figure shrouded in mystery and contradiction. They were both integral to the functioning of the legal system and relegated to the fringes of society. Their existence served as a dark reminder of the brutality of the age and the human cost of maintaining order.